We look forward to seeing you on November 15th.
eBuyHouse.com is here. America's biggest gift from Santa is coming Christmas.
The way you buy, sell, and rent real estate has changed forever.
eBuyHouse.com is a real estate trading platform. Our users buy and sell their homes without a realtor. Log on to eBuyHouse.com or
Download our app and save.
Is credit card debt burying you alive? What if one phone call could help save you thousands of dollars? Years of stress and anxiety. What if one phone call, right now, could help save your family from bankruptcy? We're Credit Associates, and one phone call to us could help save you thousands. Because if you have more than $5,000 in credit card debt, you may not have to pay it all off. For free information on how we could settle your debt for a lot less than you owe, call 1-800-500-6122. There's no obligation, just free information. Sometimes all it takes to change your life is one phone call. Make your call now and we'll show you, for free, just how much money you could save. 1-800-500-6122. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk to call. This is too important to wait. Call 1-800-500-6122.
Noted author, former chief medical correspondent, and Salonpas user Dr. Bob Arnott.
The human body has billions of pain receptors. Block those receptors with the anesthetics found in Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, and you'll have relief. Salonpas Lidocaine Plus contains 2 anesthetics, including the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. They numb aggravated nerves for effective, lasting relief. For relief, try what I use, Salonpas Lidocaine Plus.
In the silver box with the blue wave.
Hey everyone, it's Ed and Clay from the Press Box. Win big money in our free weekly football contest.
Every Friday we're going to give you a chance to win $100 just by picking a couple of winners.
Sponsored by the one and only Dollar Loan Center, offering signature loans up to $5,000. Stop by one of their 31 Las Vegas locations.
It's Paul Powell.
I'm attorney Paul Powell. If you've been in an accident, hiring the right lawyer can make a huge difference. And unlike most lawyers, I won't take more money than you at the end of your case. That means more money in your pocket, right where it belongs. Call me right now, 728-5500. Paul Powell. More lawyer, less fee.
Hello, friends. This is Thomas Johnson from Joe's Seafood Prime Steak and Stone Crab. Need a great idea for lunch or dinner? Your best bet is Joe's, one of the most popular dining destinations on the Strip. Joe's provides the ideal setting for private parties with accommodations for up to 150 guests. Stop by to see us at the Forum Shops at Caesars and ask for Thomas Johnson, your maitre d'.
And make your reservations at 702-792-9222. Joe's Angle of the Day has been absolutely sensational. Another winner last night, Teddy. I mean, it's just been extraordinary, the run these are on. I think it's 12-2, and then if you go back, I think it's 22-6.
22-6 the last 4+ weeks.
That's a lot of profits.
Sure, yeah, making money right now. Here's one for you, but you won't be able to cash it until Sunday.
Well, that's all right.
So you won't be able to grade it until Sunday. But the Philadelphia Eagles, 16-0 to the over, off a loss in which they had more third down conversions than punts. Phillies off a loss to Dallas. They had 2 punts. They were 4 of 10 on third downs. Now, it's worth noting, the average total in these games has been 47.7. It is average produced 56.2 points per game, so it's covering by more than 9 points a game. Eagles over is the angle of the day.
All right. I want to mention this before we get to Jason Logan. We all know Chris Andrews really well. Chris has been in the business for a long, long time.
Sure.
One of the great guys on the other side of the counter, and he's been with the South Point for the last few years now. And Chris he had a pretty scary time of it recently with some health issues, and transfusions of donated blood literally saved his life. On November 19th, this is going to be a South Point blood drive.
Yep.
It's going to take place from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the Brunswick room at the South Point. Look, if you're going to forget about it, just visit redcross.org and click the Give Blood tab to learn where to donate near you. If you're listening out of state right now, or you can't make it to the South Point, if you're in town, you can donate at a location near you, or come down and be a part of it. Chris will be there. And if you know him, you definitely want to be there. And if you don't know Chris, you just know of him, but you think he's a cool guy, which most people do, get to this event on November 19th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brunswick Room at the South Point.
That's on Monday.
Right.
Yeah, next Monday.
Coming up just after this weekend. Okay, so hopefully that'll be a great success. Jason Logan joining us right now. Patrick, you deal with J-Lo on an everyday basis. It's just the other J-Lo.
Yes. It's the male.
The other J-Lo.
It's the male J-Lo who helps make sure I get checks every couple of weeks and it gives me a great deal of direction and a lot of fine wisdom and knowledge. He's been around this biz quite a while. Jason, good to have you, man. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right. Not bad. And anxious to hear. Patrick already clued us in that you're going to be firing some interesting NFL trends at us, and we will be agreeing or disagreeing. I have look.
We're gonna play a little game.
All right.
We're gonna play a little game. So, and I don't want the vanilla standard handicapper answer because I'm looking at you, Ted, because I've called you on these a couple times, and I look for some brilliance, and you hand me this vanilla. Well, I'll treat every game individual. No, let's have fun with these. Let's have fun with these today, even if we're right or wrong. But before we get going, Dave, I thought of you the other day. Is Joe's still a sponsor? Joe's.
Yes, they sure are.
All right, then I will mention that they have awesome cornbread on the table. I was cleaning out my.
It's just such. I mean, the restaurant's amazing.
It is very good. I was cleaning out my garage. That's what my wife gets me to do on my days off. And I stumbled upon, and I believe the last time we sat down and had dinner was at Joe's. And we talked about your days following AHL hockey.
Yes.
Correct?
I
what I found?
I grew up in an American Hockey League town.
All right. So I found a Nova Scotia Oilers hockey puck.
Oilers? I don't know. I don't remember that.
Nova Scotia Oilers. So they were the Nova Scotia Oilers. Then they moved to Cape Breton. They were the Cape Breton Oilers. And then they had the Halifax Citadels, which is where Cover's head office is. And I remember going to Citadel games as a young boy with my dad.
Okay, so the Nova Scotia Oilers would be after my time because, no, they were seriously.
That's not a good sign.
No, the team in Nova Scotia that was in the AHL when I was in that realm was the Nova Scotia Voyageurs.
The Voyageurs. That's right. Yeah, so the Voyageurs would have became the Nova Scotia Oilers.
Ah, okay.
I think because the Voyageurs were. The Habs farm team, and then the Nova Scotia Oilers obviously became the Oilers farm team. But it was cool because you had some of those guys that made it up to the big club through the 80s, and those were some guys that played with Gretzky and Messier.
The Nova Scotia Voyageurs, by the way, were the other team in a game in Providence against the Reds in the old Rhode Island Auditorium where a riot broke out. I'm talking
riot?
Fans and players getting into fights. And they actually had to stop the game in the middle of the game and say, that's it, we're done. I mean, it was that bad. Players going into the stands, and it was just an unbelievable scene.
Did they deserve it?
I can tell you the guy who started the whole thing. This is I have to tell you this story real quick. Okay,
sorry, Jay.
I knew when I brought this whole puck thing up. I knew when I brought this whole puck thing up, it was going to get him going on a story.
An old friend of mine named Paul Del Papa, and Paul was blind. Okay, but he went to all the games and he sat right on the old chicken wire, which later became plexiglass, and he could actually identify the Reds players by the way they skated. He was a piano.
That's cool.
He was a piano tuner for a living. I mean, his hearing was fantastic. Anyway, he used to bring an ear horn with him, and this particular game, the linesman, the referee, who actually became an NHL linesman down the road, was Ron Finn, and he was not having a good game. And at some point, Finn was standing right in front of Paul on the chicken wire, and Paul stood up and blew the air horn in his ear. And the guy jumped up like 5 feet. The crowd started going nuts because everybody knew who Paul was. And from that point on, the game disintegrated.
Went downhill
the fight
quickly.
started happening. It was just a complete mess. They ended up having to stop the game in like the second period and saying, that's it, we're done for the night. Anyway, let's get to the NFL trends.
Can't bring those Halifax. Can't bring those Halifax boys anywhere, I guess. So we're going to play a little game. This is something we do a video on each week. We kind of pick out some interesting trends, and we try to kind of put a narrative behind it and see if there is some meat on the bone when it comes to trends. And that's one thing that Covers is known for. We have these unique trends and stats and some really cool stuff that we can put out there. I always say trends are like breadcrumbs. You know, sometimes they can lead you down the right path, and sometimes they're just garbage on the ground. So I got a couple interesting ones here. So we'll jump right to the big thing of the week here, which is this crazy total with Kansas City and the Rams. 63 points is what I'm looking at right here. So we did some digging, and we've had 7 totals of 58 points or more. And all 7 of those totals have gone over. So the highest totals in NFL history have all gone over. So I ask you, Teddy and Dave, true or false on this one, and it can be specifically pertaining to this game, and then I might chime in with a thought or two. And Patrick, by all means, play along.
Can we get some game show music here?
True or false? Ooh. So it's meaning true or false, like, will this game go over? Or does this trend make sense? I think it makes perfect sense.
Does this trend make sense? Is there a narrative behind this trend that makes sense?
There's absolutely a narrative behind the trend that makes sense, and that's this. There's an element out there in the betting markets, a.k.a. the wise guys, a.k.a. the number guys, who will auto-bet any high NFL total under. And when you have 2 really good offenses in the modern NFL, because all of these games on your database that are 58 or higher have to be within the last decade, or most of them, certainly here in the 21st century, they all have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's nothing in the 80s or 90s with totals this high.
No. Yeah, I think so. Here's the thing. 2002, I believe it's 2002 previous game. I want to say Oakland and Kansas City.
Yeah, I remember the game.
That's a 60-point total. That's been the biggest one so far. We saw a 59.5-point total from the Chiefs and Pats this year, and then there was a playoff total with the Falcons, I think, 2 years ago. That was 59.5 or 59.
I would say I'm going along with what Teddy said. And by the way, I'm not going to play the under in this game. I don't care if the numbers guys do or not. This game, to me, you're going to have to get some fortunate stops for this game to stay under. This is the first team to 35 wins.
And the other thing that happens is when you have a total that high, you have 2 really good offenses, and the opposing team knows we can't settle for field goals. Yeah. So you're going to see more 4th down tries. There's nothing you like better when you're playing overs and teams going for it on 4th down.
Yeah, and I suppose if there were a season to play overs, this was the one. Especially with the way the Kansas City and LA and these record-setting offenses and all the pace and scoring and air attacks that's going on, this seems like it would be an easy over. At least it's going to be fun to watch. All right, you guys ready for the next one?
Next,
bigger sample size though.
Bigger sample size, no. We got Minnesota. Minnesota's going to Chicago this week. Sunday Night Football, I believe.
Yes.
We've got Minnesota is 3-12 ATS in its last 15 trips to Soldier Field. True or false around this trend?
I'm going to say false.
Yeah,
because I think the Bears haven't covered 12 out of 15 against anybody until this season. So I'm saying false.
Yeah, that's if you're going to tell me that a game from 2005 between the Bears and the Vikings matters to this matchup, I will say not one iota.
No.
Yeah.
All right. I will say a unique kind of twist on this one here too, though. So 3-12 ATS in their last 15 trips to Chicago. Haven't played that well. Haven't covered that well.
Oh, that actually is a trend.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were quizzing me on whether it was an accurate trend.
No.
This is the trend. This is the trend.
Well, you know what?
Minnesota has only covered in 3 of their last 15 trips to Chicago.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. On this game, my numbers say Chicago, but this is a unique circumstance for the Bears. This is their biggest game of the season. And they're favored. That is a position this football team has not been in ages. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how they respond to that. I like taking a team that doesn't have the pressure.
So typically Chicago has been a great bet at home as an underdog. And heading into the season, they were a bad bet at home as a favorite. However, this year they've kind of flipped it on its ear here. We've seen them as a home favorite and cover. We saw them as a home favorite against the Jets. We saw them as a home favorite against Detroit. 4-1 ATS this year. So there is another trend that kind of ties into this. To me, it kind of sounds like there might be something to this.
Well, I'm going to disagree with it, Jason.
The Vikings since 2012 are one of the best bets in the NFL. 66-41 ATS. So the Vikings have generally been a pretty good team overall for sports bettors, yet a terrible team in this one particular spot.
Well, we'll see. But to me, covering his home favorites against the Jets and Lions, I'm not sure what that means.
And note this. They were 4.5 at close last week against the Lions. Now they're 3 against the Vikings off a bye. Oh, no, that was the Minnesota minus 4.5. Sorry,
yeah,
they were 7.5 last week.
I should note. I think Minnesota wins this game outright. Myself, that's my take on it. I think Minnesota wins the game outright.
It won't make my card, but I would agree with that. All right, what's the next one?
All right. So another interesting line this week. We see the Eagles at a defense.